Hola amigos, Dr. Labrunicky. Welcome to lesson number 4 in my 5-part series in preparation of the World Languages Pedagogy Praxis exam number 5841. This lesson covers assessment of languages and cultures. So this is for section 1, part C of the test. There's going to be 14 multiple choice questions, which comprises 24% of the overall test score. So in today's video, we're going to break this down into 3 parts. A, using assessment models, B, reflecting on assessment, and C, reporting assessment results. Okay, so if we think of this as a lesson plan, we can think of our intro. I can have you list different types of second language assessment, so you can work on that now. Our main lesson that we're going to be working on is the material in this video. And for guided practice, we can think, pair, share of different types of assessments, especially keeping in mind ACTFL's 5 C's and 3 P's. So you can also test yourself. What do you think those are? Can you explain those? Can you list those? For closure, we could have a discussion with questions. Independent practice, we could have you create assessments for a unit that you're going to teach. And some materials that you would need would be your Methods of Teaching World Languages textbook and a unit plan that this would support. Okay, so hopefully you remember ACTFL's 5 C's and the 3 P's. If not, let's go through them again. So we've got communication. So that means we want students to be proficient in a second language. Cultures, we need to think about what are the products, practices, and perspectives of the target language and target culture. Connections, how does what we're teaching relate to other disciplines like math, science, music, art. Comparisons, we want to be able to compare and contrast the first language and second language. How are they similar? How are they different? And in communities, we want to promote real-world language usage and also promote lifelong learners. All right, so some assessment considerations. So we've got formative assessments, summative assessments, backward design, rubric, scoring, gradebook. So for our formative assessment, those are things that we do along the way, and they may or may not be graded. It could be a warm-up activity, or it could be a graded activity, and we want to see how well the students are doing, if they're understanding the material or if they're not understanding the material. So that's during the formation. Summative assessment can be at the end of a unit, or the end of a semester, or at the end of a program. Could be a chapter test, a semester test, could be an advanced placement test. And so we want to think of this from backward design. So what is our final goal that we want students to be able to do? And we want to work towards that goal. And we're going to use formative assessments and summative assessments to get to our overall goal. It could be for the end of the year or for the end of a high school experience or something like that. And then rubric, scoring, gradebook. The rubric provides students a breakdown of how they're going to earn the points. Scoring, how we're going to evaluate the assignments, and in the grade book, we want to make sure that we are putting in the reading, writing, speaking, listening, cultural elements, whatever elements we think are important, they should also be in the grade book. So if you think your speaking is important, but it's not in the grade book, then really it's not important if it's not in the grade book. Okay, so I've got some different types of assessment here. So think about how you would use these different types of assessment. Would they be formative? Would they be summative? Would it be a final goal that we're working towards? And so let's take a look at these, and then if you have a partner, you can think, pair, and then share with a partner about these assessments. So a bell ringer, like a warm-up at the beginning of the class, worksheets, maybe a question that we want to ask everybody at the beginning of class, different games, hands-on activities, crafts, total physical response. How could we incorporate culture, reading, writing, speaking, listening, tests, quizzes, projects, skits, essays, comparisons, presentations. So hopefully you're using a wide range of assessments in your classes to meet the needs of the different types of learners and providing differentiated instruction. But again, think about what type of assessments would these be? How would we use them? Okay, so part B, reflecting on assessments. So we've given students an assessment. It may be a formative or maybe summative. And this is kind of the 3 steps that I'd like to think of. If everybody has been successful on a project or a test or a quiz or a worksheet or an activity, That's great. And then what I still want to do though is maybe a few weeks later is you're going to review. So maybe you're going to have a semester test or a final project. We're going to still even need to review. It's very important to review items, even if everybody's successful. Doesn't have to be the day after the assessment, but sometime in the future, maybe 2 weeks, maybe in a month, or say students have completed Spanish 1 and then they're starting Spanish 2. So at the beginning of the year, if everybody completed Spanish 1 successfully, at the beginning of the year Spanish 2, we're still going to review. Okay, how about another scenario? Some students are successful on the test, some are not. Okay, so here we need to do differentiated instruction. Students are at different levels. We need to help support the students that didn't do so well. But then the people that did do well, I can't just have them sitting there doing nothing. I also need to provide an activity or some way for them to still make progress while I'm working with other students. And in a elementary setting, this is often done with centers where I can work with different students at different levels while everybody's actively engaged. And then our last scenario, hopefully we don't have this, but it does happen. If no students are successful in our assessment, we need to go back and reteach what we want to teach them, but we can't do it the exact same way, or otherwise we're going to get the same results. We need to go back and teach it in a different way to meet the needs of all the learners. All right, and then the last part is reporting results. So we did the assessment. Hopefully the students were successful on it. Now we've got some numbers or some data. And we're going to put it in the gradebook, but we're not just going to sit on it. We need to report that to our stakeholders. So who are our stakeholders? The parents, the students, administration, the community, the taxpayers that are supporting our program. So we need to think of ways to report our results to them. So again, it could be test results or a project or community service. Maybe everybody did really well on the advanced placement test. Okay, maybe we want to let the newspaper know or let the media know, or maybe we've got a school website or Facebook or something like that where we can get this information out for our stakeholders. Same thing, maybe there's a special project that the students did that was really neat or interesting and you want to share that. Or maybe the students did some type of community service project, and so we need to report what's going on in our language classroom out into the community, the stakeholders, parents, students, administration. We need to let people know what we're doing, that we're making an impact, and that we're being successful. Okay, so to wrap it up, you can explain the difference between formative and summative assessments. Hopefully you can do that. How would you implement assessments into your unit, into your instruction? And then again, after we have assessment, what are you going to do with that information? And then how are we going to share those results with the stakeholders in our school and in our community? All right, gracias por mirar. This is Learning Spanish with Dr. L. Go ahead, click the subscribe button. You're going to get free access to all my Spanish test prep videos. Maybe you're trying to get ready for Praxis, AP, National Spanish Exam, CLEP, or just a general Spanish language test. Hopefully my videos are going to help you do that. Adios y buena suerte en el examen de Praxis. Ciao.